So we have the brand new 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros with that M1 Pro and M1 Max chipset inside it. However, we still have a lot of devices with the M1 chipset inside it, like this 13-inch MacBook Pro. Well, today I want to discuss my reasons why you should still consider getting yourself an M1 MacBook Pro or M1 MacBook Air or any other device with an M1 chipset, and why you should consider getting it right now. Hi guys, it's Matt here. So that's right, we do have the brand new 14-inch MacBook Pro and the 16-inch MacBook Pro with those brand new chipsets, the M1 Pro and the M1 Max, and they are absolutely phenomenal for pro users. But what about the M1 chipset? What about the love and attention to that? Is it all now going to die away because we've got these brand new MacBooks with those new chipsets inside it? Well, from my point of view, I don't think it should. I think the M1 chipset should still get lots of love and attention. And today I'm going to discuss my reasons why behind this. So like right here, I have a M1 MacBook Pro 13-inch model, and I've owned this now for around about a year since it came out, and my time with it, I have absolutely loved it. And I'm going to discuss with you guys some certain things that I've been doing with it and why I still think it's worth getting right now, and also how much you can actually pick up one of these for brand new or even pre-owned. Well, first of all, let's talk about my experience with this MacBook Pro. So at the end of 2020, Apple revealed the first Apple Silicon chipset for a Mac, and this was the M1 chipset, and this was going to be put inside the likes of the 13-inch MacBook Pro like I have here, the MacBook Air, and also the Mac Mini. Now at this event, Apple made lots of claims on how powerful the chipset was, and to be honest, I was a bit 50-50 on the fence if Apple were correct with their remarks. So I bought myself the 13-inch MacBook Pro because I'm a creator and a YouTuber on here to test it out and do a review, and oh my goodness, was I astonished by the performance. So I remember one of the first things I did with this 13-inch MacBook Pro was actually do an export in Final Cut Pro because I create videos like this. And when I exported it, I went away and came back because I normally make myself a drink when I am exporting on my 16-inch MacBook Pro with an i9 chipset, and the task had already completed on this machine. I was absolutely shocked at how fast it was. And yet I did another check again. I ran the same export and it was super quick, and this time I watched it, it was really quick. I did the same export on my 16-inch MacBook Pro and it was considerably a little bit more slower. And I was absolutely astonished that basically I'd bought this for basically $1,300 worth. I think in my country it was about £1,200, and yet I'd spent around about $3,800 on a 16-inch MacBook Pro and i9 inside it around about 18 months before, and yet this cheaper machine, or this far smaller machine, could actually outpace the most spec'd up i9 MacBook Pro out there at the time. I could not believe it. And yet my experience went on with this MacBook Pro, and I noticed that such daily tasks like just browsing the web, so I could go on Safari and I could open up say 20 tabs at a time and have Word open, PowerPoint open, my emails open, and the MacBook Pro didn't slow down at all. Now quickly, I'm just going to remark there that this MacBook Pro, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, is actually an 8GB option. So it hasn't even got the max amount of RAM in it. And yet I could open up so many tasks in Safari, run all these kind of Office apps at the same time, and it did not slow down at all. I was absolutely gobsmacked with the performance. And that is my point, what I want to get across today. The M1 MacBook Pro, MacBook Air and Mac Mini, this is definitely the best time to buy it. Still today, I do use this 13-inch MacBook Pro to do the odd export of videos and things like this, and also that I use it to browse the internet, do research on it. I can have like 20 tabs open at a time in Safari or even in Chrome, and yet still have like 3 Word documents open, couple of emails open, you get me, other things as well, and it doesn't break a sweat. You know, this is a 13-inch MacBook Pro with a fan in it as well, compared to the MacBook Air, which doesn't have one, and the fan only kicks in really when I do an export of a movie. If I don't do an export of a movie, the fan hardly ever kicks in on this machine. It is absolutely incredible. Just to show you how incredible the performance is, I recently did a benchmark here, and you can see obviously the MacBook Pro with the 14-inch with that M1 Pro is faster, but compare this MacBook Pro with an M1 chipset to the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and you can see, look at this export of a video, that the M1 chipset is absolutely phenomenal compared to, you know, a larger brother MacBook Pro. It's just been replaced with that M1 Pro and M1 Max, and yet it could keep up with it. It was absolutely incredible to get. And this is my point today. You're going to get basically the power of that top spec sort of Intel i9 sort of chipset in an M1 chipset in this MacBook Pro. And it is definitely still worth getting today. So I would actually argue if you are a student out there, or you're first coming along to the Apple family for the first time, or you're just wanting to test the water being a creator or developer or something like this, the M1 chipset is going to be more than enough for you in 2021 into 2022, and I would argue all the way probably up to about 2024, 2025. It's going to be around for a long time, and Apple are going to support this MacBook Pro for a very long time. So I definitely worth consider looking into getting it. Well, we're going to look at prices in just a mo, and I think you're going to be rather surprised. But before we do that, what I quickly want to talk about is today's giveaway that we're doing on this channel. So at the moment, I'm going to be giving away an iPhone 13 Pro Max in Sierra Blue, was a 128GB model, to one lucky subscriber on an international giveaway when we get over 300,000 subscribers. And to be honest, it's not that far away. And all I want to know from you guys in the comments below is to write to me what Apple gear you're planning to buy in the next year, or what technology you're planning to buy in the next year. Put it down in the comments below, and when we get over 300,000 subscribers, and only when we get over 300,000 subscribers, I'll be revealing who the winner is of this iPhone 13 Pro. And basically what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a video to let you guys know who has won it. Now, to find out if you're going to be that lucky person to get your hands on this iPhone, I would suggest that you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell, because you'll want to get that notification to find out if you've been the lucky person to get your hands on this iPhone 13 in that video. But also, I just quickly want to say, sadly, there are a lot of scammers out there, and some of them impersonate me by putting my profile picture on and saying to WhatsApp me, you've won the prize. This is not me at all, sadly to say. I will only be revealing who the winner is in the video, like I said, when we get over 300,000 subscribers. Well guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, please also give it a like. I really do appreciate it. Well, with that out of the way, let's talk about prices, and first of all, let's have a look at eBay at pre-owned MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, and even the Mac Mini, and see how much they're going for. So first of all, on eBay, what I've done is I put into the search bar at the very top, I put the MacBook Pro M1 into the very top search bar, what you can see right here. I've also applied some filters to say 2021, 2020 release, and also the Apple M1 chipset. And as you can see here with prices, they're starting at around about near $900 US, what's pretty good considering, you know, this starts at about $1,300 for a brand new MacBook Pro 13-inch. So yeah, you can get yourself some really good bargains here. Look, there's one here that says it's only got 23 cycles on the battery life, and that is really good. So it is definitely worth checking it out on eBay for MacBook Pros if you want to get yourself a really good deal on these M1 chips. They have come down in price. But let's just quickly change this though. Let's have a quick look at MacBook Airs and the M1. So possibly, yeah, we're going to get some sort of parts only sort of things here. So these ones that have possibly got some problems with them. So yeah, those prices, yeah, would possibly just ignore, maybe change your filter. But let's just scroll down to ones that start to work a little bit more further on. And yeah, here we go. We can see some. So you can get some for about $770 US here. It's pretty cool. In fact, you can get a little bit less actually. So yeah, there's one here what's $764. So we're talking around about, yeah, maybe $770 for a MacBook Air. And remember, these started out at $1,000 when they were brand new. Let's have a quick look then at the Mac Mini M1 next of all. So again, I put the search at the top of an M1 Mac Mini, and look at this, you've got a $500 Mac Mini straight away of a new listing. That's going to go straight away, or even $550. Remember, these came out $800 for the base model. So, you know, $250, $300 sort of discount straight away. It's absolutely amazing on these machines. And like I said, they've only been out for a year, and they're going to be supported for a very, very long time. So it's really crazy to see that on average that most Macs are around about $200 to even $400 less pre-owned, and you know, this is an absolute bargain to buy for these MacBooks with the M1 chipsets inside it. But there are also some deals going about for brand new MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs, and especially as we're getting closer to Black Friday when I'm creating this video and it gets uploaded to you guys, there are going to be lots of deals for the M1 chipset out there, and I will be sharing these for you. And in fact, if you actually check out my description below in this video, I've actually put some links to Amazon, and in fact there's some great deals on Amazon on the M1 MacBook Pros, iMacs, and all of those bits and pieces, so do check them out in my description. But going back, let's have a look at some of those deals right now. So I'm on the America's Amazon website, and as you can see straight away, you know, this MacBook Pro is going for $1,199 US. That is a $99 savings. It's $100 straight away on a brand new one. You can change the color and get that discount. Let's see the 512 gigabyte if we can get a discount on that. Oh, currently unavailable. Maybe you can, but sticking with the base model, you know, straight away $100 off is absolutely incredible. And look at the MacBook Air, even that is discounted down by $100 than the actual standard price when it came out brand new. And even there's some new and used ones that you can see right here for the MacBook Pro. So if I just click onto that here, so you can even pick up one for just over $1,000. So that is pretty good if you wanted to buy them from Amazon instead, if you really wanted to do that. So yeah, there's some really, really good deals definitely on brand new Amazon MacBook Pros. And let's just click into the MacBook Air. You can see here there is a discount already. It says $899 US and a saving of $99 US. So yeah, do check out Amazon as well if you want to get yourself a brand new MacBook Pro or even a MacBook Air. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, well, the reason why they're so much cheaper is because that the brand new M2 MacBook Pro or MacBook Air is coming along very soon. But how long is soon? Well, from my point of view, I personally think we will not see the M2 MacBook Pro 13-inch, if they're even going to do a 13-inch version of that, or the 13-inch MacBook Air with an M2 chipset inside it until probably this time next year at the earliest. Now, the reason why I say this is because if we follow the kind of last sort of 12-18 month sort of trend, at the end of 2020, we got some M1 kind of Mac products out there. We got the 13-inch MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air, the Mac Mini. Then if we came to the spring loaded event, we got the M1 iMac and also the M1 iPad Pro. It wasn't until the end of 2021, where I'm making this video right now, that we got the M1 Pro and we also got the M1 Max in the updated Pro kind of higher tier MacBooks out there. So it's likely that, let's say, going to next year around about March time, we're probably going to get that larger iMac with that M1 Pro inside it and M1 Max, and also that more spec'd up Mac Mini, or the redesigned Mac Mini, we've been told, that will also get that chipset inside it. So it's likely the next time we will get an Apple event for Macs won't be until around about October, November next year, and that's when we'll probably see the M2 chipset. So you could argue in its selling kind of wise right now, the M1 MacBook Pros, Mac Air, Mac Mini, and all the other kind of M1 chipset devices, they're about halfway through their kind of selling life. And for support wise, Apple always still continue to support devices around about 5 years after they stop selling it. So you get the idea, if Apple stops selling this MacBook Pro come around about November next year, October next year, they'll be supporting it for about 5 years onwards after that time. So if you brought yourself an M1 MacBook Pro right now or MacBook Air, you're going to get around about 6 years of support at the time of me making this video. And right now it's beginning of November 2021 if you're watching this video in 2022, for example. But you get the idea. You're going to get a long time out of this. And like I showed in that performance-wise way of showing, that this MacBook here and even the MacBook Air are much faster than the top range last Intel MacBook Pro, that 16-inch with that i9 chipset inside it, and that cost around about $3,500 US. So right now, this is the time to get yourself a brand new MacBook. And like I said, in my description below, I have put links to eBay and to Amazon for you guys to check out and look at some of those deals that are available right now. And I would say definitely get your hands on one of them, because even if you're a person who's just starting out inside Final Cut Pro, or even a person who's a bit more established, say in Photoshop or something like this, these are more than capable devices. Like I said, I'm the example here. I'm a YouTube creator and I've been using a 13-inch MacBook Pro to develop my videos, and I've had no problems with it. And as you can see right now with this video you're watching, if you look down in the bottom corner, or if you're on your mobile or iPad, you will see this is a 4K video. And I've got a little secret for you. This video has actually been exported on this 13-inch MacBook Pro, what you're seeing right now, and it could handle the task really, really easily. Well guys, it's time to wrap up this video and come to a conclusion. My conclusion is, if you want to get yourself a brand new M1 Mac right now is right the time to get it. Get it, I would say, before the end of 2021 or early into 2022. This is the right time to buy it. Definitely to get all that support for the next, say, 5.5, 6 kind of years. Also at the same time as well guys, if you've enjoyed watching this video, I do appreciate it if you do press that like button. And also if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews, comparisons and things like this kind of video, make sure you subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time guys, I will see you really soon. Bye bye.